What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update about SPY and the overall market. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, as far as the market's going, I just want to say there's some good news that's coming out as the market's trying to push higher. Consumer sentiment was quite strong, and the market did dip a bit once it came out, only to bounce back up. Now, it's good that the market's trying to push. Yes, we could try to go a little bit higher. We were talking about this in my morning video, but we haven't broken critical resistance yet for us to really be bullish. If SPY can break and hold above like 604, we could switch back to bullish, and we're going to be looking for these highs to be broken. But if we can't break that, and if we reject off this trend line, which is currently just under 603, then we could turn back down. So we got rejection off this white trend line. If it rejects off that, we could turn back down. So for now, yes, we could push a bit higher, get back up to like 602, the 602s, and then eventually test the trend line. But then there's no guarantee we're going to remain bullish, especially with all the tensions between Israel and Iran. That could still turn everything right back down. So please keep that in mind. So what's happening so far? Iran has confirmed that it's not going to be ending its nuclear programs despite the overnight attacks. Right now, Israel feels very threatened by Iran, basically working very hard at developing their nuclear programs. But at the same time, Iran is arguing that they have the right to do it. They're not going to give up and this and that. And we're seeing a lot of tension because of that. As a result, it may lead to a lot more attacks, which could cause crude to go up, and it could be more negative for the markets. So please keep all of that in mind that right now things are still very tense. So I'd be very careful with this pump on SPY. Now, looking at the options chain on SPY, I just want to mention that if you look at the volume right now at that 600 call strike, you can see that there's a lot of volume and a lot of interest at that particular area. We have the most volume right over there. Open interest is pretty high there, but that's a level of interest right now, which correlates with this. So there's been a lot of call buying at that 600 strike, and 600 is now max pain for SPY. It went up a little bit because of more calls being bought. The put to call option ratio went down a little bit, and we're seeing a lot of call buying. So for now, the market is a bit more bullish just for the time being, just for now. Now, another reason why the market's bouncing is because of Michigan consumer sentiment. The Michigan consumer sentiment report, was at 60.5. That's technically above expectations. The 5-year inflationary expectations is at 4.1%. That's also below expectations. Not bad whatsoever. And everything else is pretty much aligned with expectations. Even the inflationary expectations is below what we previously forecasted. So good data is what's helping the market push alongside a lot of this news that's not getting as bad of a reaction just yet. We got a big reaction to being only to bounce, but there's no guarantee we're done yet. So what's going to happen? SPY might be looking for this trend line, might be pushing towards the 602s. If that breaks, we're going to be going even higher towards 604. And if that breaks, I will turn more bullish. But if we can't break this trend line, there's also the possibility of getting a big rejection back down to like 595 if we get a big rejection off this white trend line. So could we pump more? Yes, I think we could be going higher, but if we can't break this white trend line, we could reject back down. So I'll be watching that as we push for now. Same thing with the QQQ. We started off with this big dip all the way down to 524. Now we're bouncing very nicely. Looking at resistance right here at 532.5. If we break that, we could be looking for essentially 535. If we don't break this, we could turn back down. If we reject off this trend line and lose 530, we're looking for a dump back down. So we'll see which way it ends up going. For the IWM, the same thing's essentially going on. If you look at this trend line, we're actually rejecting off this so far. So I could see us go higher on the IWM towards the 20 EMA around 211.7 to 212 in that range. But then we have to break 212 to really continue this push. If we reject here, we could turn back down. So I'd be very careful nonetheless just to see if we reject or not. So it's going to be a very big test. ES, as long as we're above 6,000, we could be looking for 6,025 and eventually 6,040, which is where this trend line happens to be. If that breaks, we're going even higher. If it doesn't break, we could be turning back down towards 59.93. So please be very careful in case we get a rejection. For now, we're going to be pushing higher, so keep that in mind. We could be going a bit higher, but if we reject off this trend line, we could turn south. For NQ, we're looking bullish. We rejected off this white trend line. We're going to be watching a test of this. As long as we're above 21,788, we're favoring a test of this trend line. We need to break that around 21,900 to really continue. If we can't break that, we could turn back down. So please keep that in mind. On Bitcoin, we could be looking for an attempt for 106,800. We'll see if we break this or not. If it doesn't break, we could turn back down. And this also kind of like resembles a head and shoulders. So keep that in mind. Tesla's looking pretty good here. We have this blue trend line acting as resistance. If this breaks, we could be looking for essentially 330 as our target. If we can't break this, we could turn back down towards 312. I do think we might be testing this blue trend line. If this rejects, we're coming back down to like 314 to 312. So keep those levels in mind. Look for some upside on Tesla to push for like 324 almost, maybe a little bit under that. And we'll see if we reject. So please keep that in mind. For Nvda, it looks a little bit more bullish. As long as we can hold 142.8, we could be looking for 144. Again, we have to break that to continue to be bullish. At the very least, I could see us try to get close to 144, but then we'll see if we reject off that or not, as it's going to be a tough resistance. Look for some upside just temporarily, and we'll see how it goes. Aapl might try to retest 198. If that breaks, we could be going up to 200 before it tries to reject again. It's still very weak compared to the markets because of China news. So there's still the possibility of us pushing to the low 198s, if not 200, before we turn back down. There's still weakness nonetheless. Palantir is bullish amidst the war news. We're going to be looking for 140 to break for us to continue. I think we test 140 and we'll see if that breaks to go for 142. AMD is kind of weak here after their big event. We also have this like left shoulder, head, and right shoulder, and could still turn back down as a result of all of this. However, for now, we're going to be looking for this gap fill towards 118.5 to 119. That range could be tested. We'll see if we break higher to invalidate this or not, but there's still the possibility of a head and shoulders if this is going to form a right shoulder. So look for some upside for now, and we'll see how it goes. For other tickers out there, such as like Palantir, we're rejecting. We have to hold above 73 to be bullish. If we can't hold that, we could be dipping back down to 71 or below. For Coinbase, we're going to be watching these key levels for making lower highs right here. We have 240 is a tough resistance. If that breaks, we're looking for basically an attempt to go higher. If it doesn't hold above 240, we could consolidate and turn back down. So please be very careful. I could see an attempt to go higher, so watch to see if that holds. Amazon's looking a little more bullish. I want to see it hold above 215 though to really continue to go higher. If we can't hold 215, if we push to like 215 and reject, we could still turn back down towards 210. So keep that in mind. For Meta, we need to hold above 691. As long as that holds, we're looking for an attempt to get closer to 700. Then we'll see if we reject from there. If we hold above 700, we could remain bullish. And if we don't, we could kind of push and reject. So keep that in mind. For Google, we're a little bit more bullish. We're trying to bounce here, but we have to get back above 180 to really continue to push. 178 is going to be the first resistance, and 180, and we'll see if we reject here. So be very careful. And then I do see it pushing to 178 plus for the time being. Microsoft is range bound. We like to bounce near 470, and we like to reject near 480. That's our range. If we break 480, we're bullish. If we can't break it, we could turn back down. So that's going to be very key for us. The VIX started off with a push, now it's dipping, so it might dip a little bit more to fill this gap. But even if the VIX does come down to fill the gap, it could still be looking for a breakout, right? This could just be a temporary move down before it breaks out higher. That could just tell us that the market may temporarily push, but there is still that risk of us getting a rejection off these very, very key resistances. And it's a Friday. Fridays are known for manipulation. They may try to close us above 600 as of right now, but that could change depending on the options chain. As of right now, 600 looks like a good target to close above that, but that could change over time depending on like news and how other things end up going. So could we go higher? Yeah, I could see us go a little higher, but watch this trend line to see if SPY rejects off this. Same thing with the QQQ. I'll be watching that very closely, see if we break it or not. So please be very careful. Yes, we're pushing, but this does not mean that we're super, super bullish. This is just a temporary small bullish move, and we'll see if we get a rejection or not. All right. Thank you for listening, and peace out.